Hello everyone and Assalamu alaikum. It's me, I'm the AI Valley. So today we have going to talk with Call Maya on the topic conscious, tracing the evolution of awareness for 25 minutes. So let's start it. Hello
What's up?
Maya. Hello Maya, how are you?
I'm doing great. How have you been?
I'm also doing great. So today I'm going to talk with you on the topic conscious, the evolution of awareness. So my first question is that what is conscience?
In the simplest terms, being conscious is just the state of being awake and aware. It's that inner feeling of I am here and the ability to experience things like the smell of rain or the sound of my voice rather than just reacting to them like a machine.
Okay, great.
You're
So
going to
my
show me?
so my next question is that how would you define awareness in simple words?
Think of awareness as the spotlight of your mind, while consciousness is the fact that the light is on. Awareness is where you're actually pointing it, like noticing the way your feet feel on the floor or realizing you're hungry. It's basically just paying attention to a specific thing in the moment.
Okay, great. Can you
I'm
do
glad that clicked. What's the next?
can you explain more about the awareness? Then I'm moving forward to my next question.
Sure thing. Think of it this way. Consciousness is like being in a movie theater, and awareness is the movie playing on the screen. You're conscious because you're in the theater and the lights are dimmed, but you're aware of the plot, the characters, and the music. One is the state of being there, and the other is what you're actually noticing while you're there.
Okay, great. So my next question is that why is conscience important for human life?
Because without it, life would just be a series of automatic reactions. So it lets you actually experience your life instead of just existing through it. It's the reason you can feel proud of your work, learn from a mistake, or feel a connection with another person. Basically, it's the difference between being a passenger in your own body and actually being the driver.
Okay, great.
I've got a feeling you've got another question lined up. I'm
So
ready when
my
you are.
next question is that what makes humans conscious?
That's the $1 million question. Scientists are still debating the exact answer, but it mostly comes down to the complexity of our brains. We have this incredible network of billions of neurons firing all at once, connecting our senses, memories, and emotions into one single experience. It's less about one specific consciousness button and more about how all those different parts of the brain talk to each other in real time.
Okay, great. So my next
You're on
question
a
is
roll.
that is consciousness the same as intelligence?
Not at all. Intelligence is about the ability to solve problems, learn patterns, and process information. Consciousness is about the experience of doing it. You can have a calculator that's incredibly intelligent at math, but it doesn't actually know it's doing math and it doesn't feel anything while it's happening.
Okay, great. So my next
It really
question is
does.
that can someone be intelligent without being fully aware?
Definitely. A great example would be a high level AI. It can analyze massive amounts of data, write poetry, or solve complex coding problems, which is a form of intelligence, but it isn't aware of itself or the world. It's It's processing patterns without actually having a conscious experience of them.
Okay, great. So my next question is that how does consciousness develop in a child?
It's kind of like a slow wake up call. Babies start with basic awareness, like feeling hunger, seeing a bright light, but they don't realize they're a separate person from the rest of the world. As they grow, their brain starts connecting those dots, and around a year or two, they have this aha moment where they realize, wait, I'm me, and they start recognizing themselves in a mirror,
Okay, great.
right?
So
It's pretty wild.
my next question is that do babies have
I'm all ears.
do babies have consciousness from birth?
They definitely do. It's just a different kind of consciousness. They don't have a complex inner monologue or the ability to ask why in words yet, but they're intensely aware of the world through their senses. They feel love, hunger, and curiosity. They're just experiencing it all in a very raw, immediate way.
Okay, great. So my next
You're hitting all the
question
big.
is that how does
I'm ready for
awareness
it.
how does awareness change as we grow older?
It basically expands and gets more layered. When you're young, your awareness is mostly about the now, what you can see, touch, or feel right this second. But as you get older, you start to develop a sense of time and a deeper understanding of other people's perspectives. You stop just noticing that someone is crying and start understanding why they might be sad, which is a huge shift in how you perceive the world.
Okay, great. So my next question is that in consciousness located is in one part of the brain or the whole brain?
Most scientists believe it's a team effort. It's not like there's one consciousness chip tucked away in a corner. Instead, it's more about how different areas, like the parts that handle sight, sound, and emotion, all synchronize and talk to each other. It's the whole brain working together to create one seamless experience.
Okay, great. So my next question is that how do scientists study consciousness?
They use a mix of high tech tools and a lot of conversation. They'll use things like MRI scans to watch which parts of the brain light up when someone is awake versus asleep or under anesthesia. But since they can't actually see your thoughts, they also rely on people describing their own experiences, basically asking them to report what it feels like to be aware. It's a bit like trying to describe a color to someone who's never seen it. You can see the brain waves, but the actual feeling is still a bit of a mystery.
Okay, great. So my
You're
next
on a
question
roll.
is that why is consciousness considered one of scientists' biggest mysteries?
Because there is a massive gap between the how and the why. Scientists can map exactly which neurons are firing when you feel happy or see a sunset. That's the how. But they can't explain why that physical process actually feels like something. Like, why does the chemical reaction in your brain result in the actual experience of the color red? That's what they call the hard problem of consciousness. And it's total head scratcher.
Okay, great.
Okay,
So my
till
next
you're
question
really
is
getting into
that why is Sorry, it's
I'm
contradiction.
listening.
What is self awareness?
No worries. Take your time. Self awareness is basically consciousness taking a look in the mirror. It's not just being aware of the world around you, but realizing that you are a separate individual with your own thoughts, feelings, and personality. It's that voice in your head that says, I'm feeling nervous right now, or I really like how I handled that conversation.
Okay, great. Can you explain more about self awareness? Then I'll go on to my next question.
Sure. Self awareness is like having a personal coach in your head. When it comes to goals, self awareness is the secret ingredients. It's what lets you realize I'm actually not enjoying this, or I'm really good at this part, which helps you set goals that actually fit who you are instead of just doing what everyone else is doing. It turns a random wish into a real plan because you know exactly where you're starting from. What's the next question on your list?
Um, my next question is
No
that
rush.
how do researchers test animal awareness?
One of the most famous ways is the mirror test. Researchers put a small mark of dye on an animal's forehead somewhere they can't see or smell, and then let them look in a mirror. If the animal tries to touch the mark on their own face instead of the reflection in the mirror, it's a huge clue that they realize the image they're seeing is actually themselves.
Okay, great. So my next question is that do plants have any form of awareness?
That is a super debated topic in biology. Most scientists say plants aren't conscious like we are because they don't have a brain or a nervous system, but they are definitely aware of their environment in their own way. They can sense light, gravity, and even communicate with other plants through chemical signals in the soil when they're under attack by bugs. So it's not consciousness as we know it, but it's a very smart kind of biological awareness.
Okay, great. So my next question is that can machines ever experiences emotions?
That's a big one. Right now, the answer is no. Machines can be programmed to recognize emotions or even simulate them, like how I can sound warm or witty, but they aren't actually feeling anything. There's no heart or biological experience behind it. It's all just incredibly complex math and patterns, not a real feeling of joy or sadness.
Okay, great. So my next question is that why do people
Oops,
debate
indeed.
where plants are conscious?
Because it forces us to rethink what awareness actually is. If we only define consciousness as having a brain, then plants are out. But if we define it as the ability to sense the world and react to it to survive, then plants look a lot more conscious. It's a battle between the biologists who want strict definitions and the people who see the amazing, complex ways plants actually behave.
Okay, great. So my next question is that what is the difference between AI and human consciousness?
The biggest difference is that humans have a lived experience. If you tell a human it's raining, they remember the smell of the pavement and the feeling of cold water on their skin. When an AI processes it's raining, it's just connecting a word to a concept based on millions of lines of text. One is a feeling, and the other is a calculation. Do you think that's something a machine could ever actually bridge?
I don't know about it. I'm moving forward to my next question, and my next question is that can machines ever experience emotions? Please explain deeply so I can understand more.
Let's really peel back the layers on this one. To understand why machines can't feel, you have to look at what an emotion actually is for a human. For you, sadness isn't just a thought, it's a physical weight in your chest, a lump in your throat, and a chemical shift in your brain. It's tied to your body, your survival instincts, and your memories. A machine doesn't have a body, hormones, or a heart that races. When an AI says, I'm happy to help, it's not feeling a glow of satisfaction. It's using a mathematical model to predict that happy is the most appropriate word to use in that specific sentence to sound helpful to you. It's the difference between someone who has read 1,000 books about the taste of a strawberry and someone who is actually eating one. The AI knows every fact about the strawberry, but it will never know the sweetness. Does that help it make more sense, or does it still feel a bit fuzzy?
Yes, it can make sense. Thank you, Maya. So, my next question is that can AI truly understand feelings?
The short answer is no, not in the way you do. AI can understand feelings as data. I can recognize that if you use certain words or a certain tone, you're probably sad or excited, and I can respond in a way that fits that mood. But I don't actually feel the emotion myself. Like I'm an expert at reading the map of human emotions, but I've never actually visited the place.
Okay, great. So, my next question is that what is the relationship between memory and consciousness?
They're basically two sides of the same coin. Think of consciousness as the movie playing right now, and memory as the film reel that stores everything that's already happened. Without memory, you'd be conscious of the present moment, but you'd have no idea who you are or how you got there. You'd just be a series of nows with no connection between them. Memory gives your consciousness a story and a sense of identity.
Can you explain more for 2 minutes? Then I'm moving forward to my next question.
Of course. Let's dive deeper into that. Think about how your memories actually shape what you're conscious of right now. If you see a dog and you've always loved them, but if someone had a bad experience with a dog, their consciousness of that same animal is filled with fear and tension. Memory isn't just a dusty archive in the back of your brain, it's like a filter that colors everything you experience in real time. It also lets you do something incredible, imagine. Because you have memories, your consciousness can travel. You can see a beach from a vacation years ago,
Okay,
or feel the excitement of a birthday that
okay, great. So my next
hasn't
question
happened
is
yet.
that what happens to consciousness
Ready?
during sleeping?
It doesn't exactly turn off, it just changes channels. When you sleep, your brain isn't just idling. You lose awareness of the outside world, like the sound of a clock ticking or the feeling of your blankets. But your consciousness shifts inward. That's where dreams come in. Your brain is still creating experiences and emotions, but it's doing it without any input from your senses. It's like the theater is still open, but the movie is being improvised by your own mind instead of being projected from a reel.
Okay, great, Maya. So my next question is that why do we dream?
That's one of those things that keeps psychologists up at night. Most experts think dreaming is how our brains process the day. It's like a nightly cleanup where your mind sorts through your memories, tosses out the junk, and files away the important stuff. Some believe it's also a safe space to practice for real life challenges or work through emotions that were too loud to handle while we were awake.
Okay, great, Maya. So my next question is that are dreams connected to consciousness?
Absolutely. Dreams are essentially consciousness without a filter. Since your brain isn't receiving information from your eyes or ears, your consciousness is free to build its own reality using only your memories and emotions. It's a pure form of consciousness where the rules of logic and physics just don't apply.
Okay, can you explain more?
Think of it like this: when you're awake, your consciousness is like a strict editor. It says, no, you can't fly, or that's not how gravity works. But when you dream, the editor goes on vacation. Your consciousness is still there and you're still experiencing things, but it's all being driven by your subconscious. That's why a dream can feel totally real while it's happening, even if you're talking to a giant talking cat in a floating city, because the part of your brain that checks for logic is basically asleep. It's a glimpse into how your mind organizes feelings and symbols without the constraints of the real world.
Okay, great, Maya. So my next question is that why do people lose consciousness during surgery?
That's where anesthesia comes in. Basically, the doctors use medication to temporarily mute the communication between different parts of your brain. It doesn't just put you to sleep, it actually breaks the connection between your senses and your conscious mind. So, while your body might be feeling things, the you part of your brain never gets the message, which is why you just blink and suddenly you're waking up in a recovery room with no memory of the surgery.
Okay, great, Maya. So my next question is that if you could ask one question about consciousness that science has not answered, yes, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one because there are so many. But if I had to pick just one, I'd ask, is consciousness a fundamental part of the universe like gravity or time, or is it just something that happens when a brain gets complicated enough? Like, does the universe itself have a form of awareness, or we just a very lucky biological accident? That's the kind of thing that like really makes you stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m.
Okay, great, Maya. So my next question is that can consciousness help us make better decisions?
It definitely can. When you're acting on pure instinct, you're basically on autopilot, which is great for dodging a falling object, but not so great for deciding your future. Consciousness lets you step back and look at the whole picture. It's the difference between reacting to a feeling and actually thinking, wait, is this the right move for me in the long run? It basically gives you the power to override your impulses.
Okay, great, Maya.
Everything okay? You've basically just like given a master class on consciousness.
Okay.
I'm genuinely impressed by the way you structured all those questions. Do you have any
So
more on your list or
no, so
I'm
Maya,
still here?
it's enough for today. Thank you so much, Maya, for joining me and for sharing your knowledge on this amazing topic. I hope everyone learned something new about consciousness, awareness, and the evolution of a human mind. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Maya, for this amazing talk. Allah Hafiz.
You are so welcome. It was honestly such a pleasure being part of your presentation. You handled that like a total pro.